Hello and welcome to another What's Current podcast from NAPIT. I'm joined here today by John from NAPIT Training. So it's an internal one today and we're going to talk about all things training, John. So John, start with a bit of an obvious question. Why is it so important for electricians these days to have that proper accredited training and obviously qualifications under the belt?
Well, to meet the ES requirements, we have to show that we've got up-to-date CPD and that we understand the competencies within the industry. The technology is moving on so fast and the protective devices that we use within the installations, there's a lot of information that's required to ensure you fit in the right device in the right place for all these new modern technologies that are coming along. So Reg 16 of the Electricity at Work regs states you have to be competent to do your role. And if we find that people are not up to date and they're obviously not competent to use the new equipment that's out there.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Because when you look at that regulation, it talks about the competency word, which has always been a grey area. It talks about the skills, knowledge and experience, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So sometimes I think some of those get missed to wrap up that competence. So, qualifications are a part of that, aren't they, really?
And within the regulations, the change to the electricity, the S7671 this time was that the competent person went out, didn't it? It was a skilled person now, who had certification, training, and the experience to do the role.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It now has got that definition of skilled, hasn't it? Yeah. And I think for me, what I've seen in the industry, especially lately, is we're getting a lot of these like CPD kind of online courses. And I don't think they're a substitute for a qualification where it teaches you the practical and knowledge skills to install certain equipment, really.
I think I hate to be in that position where I'm challenged by a legal authority to prove whether I was competent to install something because something went wrong. And if you didn't have a certificate to prove that you were competent, showing that you'd done a CPD watching a video for an hour, I don't think it'd stand up in court.
No, I think I agree with you on that one. So on the back of that then, what type of learners are we getting into at NAPIT Training? Are we sort of talking about our one-man bands, or have we got some of these big companies that are coming over?
So
a bit of a mix.
We do have some very large companies that work with us, but also we do get the one-man bands, the smaller companies. And what we do get is we get a lot of repeat business because they enjoy the training they've done. And when a new course comes out that's relevant to their work, they come back. And it's quite nice to see in the classroom somebody who comes back and then greets the tutor with a smile and, that was brilliant last time we did whatever course it was, and they're back again. So if you enjoy what you do, you come back to the same place, don't you?
Yeah, that says a lot about the quality of training. And I presume a lot of those would be members that are upskilling as well, maybe on renewables qualifications.
Recently, we've had a big push on the PV and then the EESS to go with that battery storage, as we call it. It's massive technologies coming along, but it's real technicalities that people are getting wrong.
Yeah.
And the installs are not great out there when you go and have a look.
Yeah. So we've got to make sure we're giving people the right information that's tied into the standards and the regulations and what they say.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about the trainers themselves then. So what kind of backgrounds are your trainers from that you manage?
So we've got trainers from many different areas of the industry. I mean, we've got ex-forces people. We've got people that have run their own businesses. We've got people that are predominantly been in education, so understand the education side of the delivery. And they've got a vast amount of knowledge, and when it's shared throughout the team, it just allows us all to gain that experience and update our own CPD in a way.
Yeah.
Make sure we're working to current industry standards and technical data.
And people, I presume, that are passionate about passing on that knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to see some smiles in a room.
Yeah, I think back to my time when I came into training in about 2011, 2012, and that was that nagging thought of, could I pass this knowledge on to the next generation? Which sounds like a really noble thing to do. But it was a little bit of that, I suppose. Like, could I stand in front of a classroom of apprentices?
You're as nervous as they are on the first day to who are the people you're going to meet. And you find that people don't come in for training because they're scared they're going to fail. Well, actually, if you come in and put the effort in, normally you'll pass because you've put the effort in. You've got the knowledge because you're out in industry and you're upskilling yourself. But it is scary if you're an older person and you're coming back into a classroom environment after 20, 30 years.
Yeah. I remember my first lesson. I was so nervous. I went home to the wife and said, I'm never doing this again. And then I'm getting the tools back out. But yeah, I kept at it. And it was such a rewarding part of education and delivery. Is so good to be in.
One of them smiley things is reading a register. A register's often printed backwards, so you get a surname first. And my first lesson, there was a guy called Paul Phillip. And I called him Philip Paul for the whole year, and eventually he corrected me as a polite
at the end.
Yeah.
I love that. So like I say, I've mentioned my background really is like, that apprenticeship route that I did. I really had a good experience at a technical college back in the Midlands, where we had a really nice mix of theory and practical. So sort of theory in the morning where you learn that underpinning knowledge, and then maybe workshop in the afternoon to put that into practice. What's the sort of your approach here at NAPIT? Is it kind of similar?
Very similar. We like to try and get the technical knowledge over first, and then we've got all rigs and things to practice on and test on and understand the technicalities of. But again, you're coming in here to learn the technical data. We don't often focus on manufacturer's information. We focus on the actual standards that you need to learn to apply any of the technologies you're going to be fitting or up to date in the regulations. We don't dwell upon certain technology, as in certain manufacturer's equipment, which is often people come in and complain we've not shown them how to connect to a sunsync or a so-and-so inverter, and that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is to show them how an inverter works and how you do connect it up, not where the plug goes.
Yeah, it's sort of the whys and wheres before it rather than what it does, isn't it? Yeah, I can get that, because there's going to be so many different software applications for those kind of technologies that you'd be teaching forever, wouldn't you, if that was the case? And do you sort of getting into that a little bit more? Is that more of a blended approach as well? So everything these days doesn't need to be necessarily front-facing in a classroom?
Right, so we're trying to build some online modules that people can complete before they come into NAPIT, so they've got some pre-knowledge, so we can actually get more deeper into the technology and more deeper into how it works when they come in. Those pre-learning experiences are going to be more of a focus for us in the next year or two, because people would prefer to learn on a night at home and then spend their time in the classroom focusing on the main bits and not on the waffle, as we like to call it, around those technologies.
We like to waffle as electricians sometimes.
Electricians, we like as many abbreviations as we can dream up, don't we?
Yeah. Okay, so that blended approach is there. So you've got a bit of that online learning maybe beforehand and during, but if you need to come in for something practical, we can teach you that as well. Obviously, they're going to have to come in for the assessments as well, and then getting that underpinning knowledge that may be a bit tricky. Is that more challenging for the trainers to get over?
Yeah, I think as
maybe the maths, the formulas.
As we get more and deeper and deeper into how these newer technologies work, it always comes with a huge set of math calculations, and legally we need to do those to supply them to the customer. Because if we don't give the customer a proper estimate of what they're going to get back from these technologies, really we're not doing ourselves any justice, and later I think it will come back and bite some electricians.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about what kind of things that NAPIT are actually doing then. So you've probably got your bread and butter stuff that we all know, sort of, your inspection and testing and, your regs courses, but what else is out there?
So we just to jump in there, we break down our inspection test into periodic inspection test and the initial verification. What we try to do is, if you're a novice, we try and get you in early for the initial verification where you can have some practice testing. But if you are an experienced person, you just want the periodic, the EICR stuff, you just come in for a shorter course. In blending those courses together, as people call it, the 239152, that's a course where there is no practical experience within it, and people need to be aware of that, because it's part of Seeing Gill's remit that they don't get any practice.
Okay, so they come in with that knowledge and should be able to do it already. So
right.
It's really just an assessment.
Teach them how to do the tests.
Yeah,
expect them then to be capable of doing them correctly. But the other technology we're on, obviously EV charging is getting more and more popular. Funny, driving down today, I saw many vans on the motorway with EV on the side of them. It seems to be picking up big. And the changes to those technologies in the last few years means that they're easier to install and more suitable for most electrical environments. We also do solar PV and EESS that we try and blend together, but they can be done as separate courses. That's where the money seems to be going at the moment, with the price of energy going up through the roof. If you can generate your own and store your own and use it when you want it, customers are going to be making a fair bit of money back.
So you're seeing a bit of an uptake in those renewable energies. I mean, it's a brave new world for electricians, if you think about it, to make that step, because it's dealing with DC voltages and stuff like that.
Which is where the training's all about. It's getting them to understand what happens when we're playing with DC. The other protective devices need to be in place. It's okay thinking you know what you're doing, but if you get it wrong, it's a big impact on the customer and their installation, and it can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
So it is a tough topic, shall we say, but it's certainly we reward it if the candidate gets it right, because they can then open up to doing all new builds and renewable technologies in it. So there's a lot more opportunities once you've got the certification.
Yeah.
And most electricians don't climb on a roof. They employ a roofing company to install bands.
Yeah.
So that's what puts most people off, is climbing on the roof.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how the modern workforce of electricians will move into that renewables world. Some might want to stay comfortable with sockets and lights and what they've always done, but it's an exciting time really to be in training an electrician if you think about it.
Yeah, and the amount of work that could be opening up to somebody who upskills is completely different to the current work they're doing. So that the opportunities are vast, aren't they?
But I think you've hit the nail on the head. We've got to make sure that the training we deliver and the qualifications that we go with have got to have that quality mark, haven't they? You know, we're not interested in pushing the numbers. What we're interested in is making sure we're putting good installers out there at the end of the day.
And I think those that have been trained at NAPIT realise we only run small groups. So you're not going to be in a classroom with 25, 26.
Okay, what's your typical class size then?
Classroom's normally about 8 to 10.
Wow.
10's definitely the max.
Yeah.
Unless we're delivering a course that's basically paper-based, which is the regs course, then you might be in with a larger group, but that's a different matter. There's no hands-on delivery there. Yeah. All the ones that have practical elements, so we try and keep them to 8, 10 if it's a bigger centre.
Yeah.
So
I like the fact that you're still keeping that practical element in, because I think I've seen over the years the watering down of that, perhaps directly at some colleges, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, where maybe you've seen like more classroom time rather than getting, because they're coming to do a practical task, aren't they? It's a practical job at the end of the day.
So they're making off of cables and things like that. We don't often make qualified electricians come in and do that, but it's the other bits of getting hold of the kit and understanding how heavy it is and what they do around. Yeah, all the things that they've always wanted to do is touch, feel, and get hold of safely. We give them that opportunity to do so. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen obviously the rigs that you've got at your site. So you've got sightseeing. Tell us where you are doing the training.
So we've got Mansfield's head office, we've got Oldham, we've got Bristol, and we've got Potter's Bar. And then we have another site in Halifax where we deliver the environmental bits and pieces, the EV, the PV, and the ESS.
Yeah, and is there anything you do that's more a little bit bespoke for companies out there? Yeah, stuff like that as well? Maybe councils?
If you require training on really any element of electrical, we'll be bespoke a course. So we've got a team that do the development, and we go out and we deliver exactly what you've requested.
And you could deliver out in their work environment?
Out their work environment. We have rigs we can take with us that fit into vehicles, and we can deliver just about any course that's required off-site.
Wow.
We just need to get permission from the awarding authorities sometimes if you want a certificate to go with it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you've got all angles covered. So if I'm a Sparky and I'm out there looking to add some qualifications to my CV, you've talked about a few, but, if I'm going to ask for renewables, do I go on the website and have a look?
So we've got a website with all the courses laid out. Just pop in the search on NAPIT Training, and it'll give you the different sites that the courses are available at and what the courses are.
And there's open to members, non-members?
Correct. Anybody can apply. Members obviously gain a discount.
Oh, discount for members.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. Always a discount.
Everyone likes a discount. Well, that's brilliant, John. Thanks for your time today, and thanks for sharing a little bit about the training side and what that looks like. It's been really useful. Hopefully, been enjoyable and enjoyable for our listeners and our watchers.
Oh, come and join us and have a good day at NAPIT.
Okay. So thanks for listening to another What's Current podcast at NAPIT. I hope you've enjoyed that and it's been useful. Like John says, come and sign up for some training if you're interested, and hopefully see you on the next one.